Yeah, and welcome to another video. I'm Brett Papa, and we are joined by, this is a treat, the great Andy Timmons.
Oh man, nice to see you, Brett. Thanks.
Round of applause.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks. So invading Nashville.
This is, but what's great is like I vividly remember your band as a kid. Like, who is that dude on guitar? So good. I'm child of the 80s.
You talking about Bananarama? Which band?
No, just all of it. But I remember, but also being from the same area that I remember, like, what happened to that guy? And then all of a sudden, people in Oklahoma are like, no, he's down in Texas. I'm like, okay, he's still
fine.
out.
He survived the hairband. He's okay.
Exactly.
He's convalescing.
You made it.
Yeah.
And now you know you've officially arrived because you have a signature pedal.
It's crazy, right? Somehow I just kept doing what I love to do. You know?
Do you have more than one signature pedal?
I do. It's crazy. There's been a few along the way, but none more stunning than the new Keeley.
Right. Amazing.
I mean, well, yeah. There's been others, but Robert, I love you the most, man.
Well, I'll say this though: overdrives. It's like, yeah, anybody can build an overdrive, but to truly build a delay pedal. I'm a whole different
I'm going to
world.
completely agree with you on that. And it was a bit of a rabbit hole, so to speak. No reference to your rabbit forest out there.
There's a rabbit right behind us.
I can't wait to go pet his ears.
Exactly.
No, it's I've been an echo and delay junkie most of my playing career, starting with my rig in the way early before the Danger days was literally a Tom Scholz Rockman into this multi-channel AD202 Ibanez multi effect, but it had delay on it.
Yep.
So I'd run that echo into the amp.
No way.
And so I've always liked that kind of more of a verby sound as much of a delay.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it a couple of days ago, where I'm thinking about all the records I really like from my childhood. We were talking about the Beatles a second ago, like the solo for "I Saw Her Standing There," which is the flip side of "I Want to Hold Your Hand." It's drenched in that echo reverb room that they have.
Yeah.
And so I've always kind of liked a real wet sound to start with. But then over the years, I was using, what did I have to after that Ibanez? Probably just, was getting into the rack units.
Oh, you had to.
You
couldn't be in a hair metal band without a rack.
But I never had the money. We weren't a success.
They didn't either.
We weren't a successful hair metal band.
Right, exactly.
I had the PV Profex.
You were on Headbangers Ball and you weren't rich?
I know, right? Strangely enough, I was still scraping money together for White Castle down on the corner of Bell Boulevard.
Oh my God.
In New York City. No, so the Intel Effects was a thing for a while.
I had one of those.
Yeah.
God, that was a good one.
So when we got into about 2006, when we were doing the Resolution record, and I kind of went more down the sonic rabbit hole, so to speak, with getting into tape echo and that type of thing. So I got really into the EP3s.
Yep.
I was using old Marshalls. We were kind of, what would Eric do kind of vibe. It's like kind of
everybody went through the what would Eric do phase.
Well, I still do. What are you having for lunch?
Yeah.
No, but it was, we had the Marshalls, and I had the 3-knob tube driver, not the 4-knob.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
But there's a lot more gain, so I was running the Marshalls loud and clean. But that way, when I had the echo plexes in front of them, they didn't get all kind of distorted out.
Yep.
I don't know how Eric does that, but so I was driving the front end of those. I love that sound, but of course they're pretty rough to try to get to use for gigs.
Yeah.
Always breaking down.
Super dependable.
Well, then I went to something slightly more dependable with the Electro Harmonics. I had the old Deluxe Memory Man.
Yeah.
And so I was using 2 of those in series to kind of get that.
But see, then you need your own board for just those.
I did. It was before I had somebody that knew what they were doing with pedal boards. It was like stuff like Velcro and nails and there was no expression pedal for the Memory Man, so I had this like old plant bracket that we would C-clamp on, so I could reach my foot down. Not the brightest, folks. But we got it to work.
Mentioning Eric, the funny thing is, for somebody that's such a tweaker with tones, I look at his pedal board.
It's pretty crazy.
I'm like, wait a second, that does not look organized. It seems like there must be like some perfect, ratio of chord bending, and there's something.
There was one of my favorite stories about that, because there was a gig I went to in maybe the mid '90s when he was doing Alien Love Child.
Yeah.
And at that point, we got
the mid '90s.
Was it? I know, because now that's a long time. Or was it 2000s? I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter. That's still.
It was more than 20 years.
Yeah.
But there was this wooden platform with his tube driver. On top of it.
Totally.
And I went to the gig and I was like, oh man, I wonder what that's about. And the tech was like, I was straightening up his cables, talking about that pedal board. You know what it looks like. Yeah. And I picked it up off the pedal board. He goes, "What'd you do? That sounds way better."
Come on.
And so fast forward, when we were doing the Resolution record, and even though I was using the 3-knob tube driver, I had bypassed it. I wasn't even plugged into it, but the output of the tube driver sitting on the floor was still plugged into the Marshall out there. And I was plugged into something else, but I was still hearing that amp. Mm-hmm. Well, what's happening? Because the vibration of the floor is coming through that microphonic tube.
No way.
Right. So then we decided, okay, let's plug it back in. Now let's put it up on some plywood. And you wouldn't believe the difference.
No way.
Because all that low end was collecting.
It's vibrating.
And so so I mean,
So he's not crazy.
No, of course he's not. No, that's the thing. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
His sonic bar is so high.
Yeah.
And so people maybe give him a hard time about being obsessive with some of these things, but it does all add up.
Yeah. It does.
All that, the slide aside to say, so it started with the EP3s, went to the Memory Man, and then when the timeline came out, I thought, okay, because I was so tired because with the EP3s and with the Memory Man, they were so volatile, always breaking down, and so the Strymon was a really well-made unit, and I always I got it like 90% to where I really wanted to get it. But that's the thing, it's like, and I'm using that one basic tone all night. And I really wanted to find somebody that could just really get the ultimate version of that thing that I've got in my head, which is kind of a combination of all those great echoes. And my great friend Daniel Steinhardt from the Pedal Show, if I can drop a name.
These guys are awesome.
They're kind of great, right? Yeah. Easy to love, as they say.
Right.
I said, well, here's what I want to do. I really just want this one sound in a pedal. I don't need all this other stuff. I said, who should I go to? He says, Robert Keeley. Without even like flinching, he just knew that Robert would be the guy. So it was at an AM show.
He's back there on the couch.
Now I'm on the road with him. So he walked me over to his booth at the NAMM show and he introduced us and just Robert just, I'm way into this idea.
No way.
And so that was maybe, I don't know what year that was, but from that moment to when we finally got this out this year, it was about 3 years.
Wow.
There were stops and starts, and there was all kinds. Of course, there was this thing. Do you hear about that pandemic?
Yeah,
that happened?
Yeah.
That thing.
It's kind of faintly.
It kind of got in the way of stuff. And but about a year and a half of real work on really getting down to what is it about these units that we love so much, in the way that I was kind of curating them and dialing them in. And so the beauty was, I live in McKinney, which is a suburb of Dallas, about 30 minutes north of Dallas, and they're in Oklahoma City. So maybe it's like three and a half hours, doorstep to doorstep.
Yeah.
So instead of like, hey man, it needs more air or whatever, we could be in the room together.
Oh, that's
and
fantastic.
between Rob's excellence and Aaron Pierce, his ears were really dialed in with what I was going after. So I was so happy that they just weren't willing to settle. And when I can work with somebody like that, then the picky guy comes out of me and like, okay, well let's because sometimes you can recognize your limitations and go, that's good, it's cool. But we weren't going to get it. We weren't going to stop until it was better than everything else that we had. And I really feel like we more than got there.
So how do you feel that you mixed the best of both worlds? Like what would you say that you troubleshot with the old units versus, obviously a space is a cool thing. It's small.
Yeah. Okay. So that's always the best tone wins for me. Yeah. So it doesn't matter how big something is. It was just that here was this unit that does a lot of things that I really don't need. And yes, selfishly, if you can get it in a small package, but it was really just kind of down to that. My dual echo, this is a classic, dotted eighth quarter note kind of thing that I learned how to use from Simon Phillips that I worked with for years, who I guess got it from David Gilmour because they had done some work together.
A couple slouches.
Anytime I'd work with, I know it's like name drop city, sorry. I need my horn like that pedal show. But no, Simon would always do these wonderful when I was playing in his group, he would do these really immaculate demos. He'd play live drums and he'd program all the guitar melodies and stuff. He's a great writer. So he'd have this kind of funky like lead guitar patch on the keyboard, but it always had this cool echo on it. It was like an old Boss SE70, half rack unit, but it had a dual echo. Oh yeah, Andy, that's my David Gilmour setting.
No way.
And so I just kind of got really used to having the two echoes. That's what sent me down that path.
So it's a dotted eighth and a quarter note.
Yeah. So if the quarter note's 500 milliseconds, the dotted eighth would be about 375.
Wow.
So it's kind of that ratio.
Is that like the run like hell thing?
I don't know.
Like if you turned up the mix like a the David Gilmour.
No. This is I don't know that what.
Yeah, right.
I'm not the world's Pink Floyd official expert. I'm sorry. Don't send hate mail.
Right.
Send hate mail through Brett at BR549.
Exactly.
But it was as far as getting back to your question, what is it about it? So with a great tape echo, those of you that know the tape echo, it's kind of the way it stays out of the way. You know, it's that for, you know, each echo really feathers back and it almost creates like
but it makes everything go this way at the same time.
it really widens
Yeah.
it. And what I loved about the Memory Man was that it had the modulation available on the repeats, which would kind of imitate that out of tune wow and flutter from a really properly working nice EP3.
Exactly.
And that's what gives it that. So I picture this like drop going into the lake, and that's the pure note, then everything else around it. No, I mean it's kind of
good.
It
Deep.
the
Cosmic
deep and wet. You're soaking it at Madge. That's an old people reference, folks. Palm Olive. You're soaking. Do you remember?
Totally.
You remember Paul? I said
yeah.
maybe he's not as young as he looks. I'm not sure why I'm talking like gringo today. Peace and love. Peace and love. But it really does. The thing about it is that it gives it this kind of. If you listen to the repeats, I've got the expression pedal hooked up to the Halo where I can increase the mix, but I dial it in so where it just gets slightly out of tune.
Sure.
So this note stays pure.
You can do some serious close encounters right there.
That's not close. That's Rush. Only because I don't know the Close Encounters theme. I need to get out more.
It's all right.
I don't see enough movies, Brad. Apparently I was ensconced in my bedroom learning Rush tunes instead of going to movies. So there's a bit of that, the way those echoes dissipate and stay out of the way to create kind of that reverb. And so I can get the tone really pretty wet, but in the mix with the band or in a track, it's just this kind of ambience, and it almost acts more like a reverb, even though all that's kind of going on.
So when you set your own personal setting, is your mix lower? Like where would you set your mix typically? I mean, obviously it's on the fly, so you can do what you want,
it's pretty high because I mean
because you're running through loops too, which helps.
Yeah, I'm definitely running into the loop, and that helps, for sure. Especially if you're going to use the lead channel on the amp. Sure, it would get a little messy in front. Though some people, like Dave Friedman was talking about how he really got a great sound into his distorted Marshall using that saturate knob, which we can talk about in a little bit. That can really help with the compression and a little bit of the tape. That tape.
Well, and I find because that's how I used to always run stuff, was into a pretty, not super distorted, but like Hendrix distorted. Kind of landing that. And I found as long as I had either a little bit of it doesn't even have to be a lot, but just a tiny bit of boost or a tiny bit of gain. In front, then it didn't seem to do that weird thing if it was just like plugging a DD3 in the front of a distorted Marshall.
Exactly. So, if it's more setting the mix, the delay for me is really not quite an effect. It's really, most of my sounds are it's baked in. It's like it's kind of never off. Sure. So I tend to be probably wetter than I should be most of the time, but it's just kind of where I tend to sing. It's where, it's almost like a sustain pedal. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's giving me duration for chords.
But you're the only guitar player in your setup?
Yeah, well, that's another thing too. I do play trio.
So that helps. I mean, obviously it makes this fills out the sound a lot.
And again, there's where Eric, he used it so well because he would have, in his clean sound, he would usually have the one Memory Man in front of that. So, he always had the delay going, and that's one of those things where it can really kind of
and it almost becomes almost like a keyboard pad.
Exactly that, yeah. And I do a lot of solo piece stuff too, where what do I play here? Like and I could play that same thing. It's kind of, it sounds a little silly.
So it's the delay pedal that makes you so good. Man.
I'm not good, but the pedal, I'm telling you.
Comes stock 200 of Andy's signature licks.
I've only got 3. That's a good modulation there.
But it's true what you're saying. It does not get in the way for how much
there's a lot of information happening, but it's staying right out of the way and just giving me. You heard the difference when I turned it off.
It's crazy different.
It's pretty crazy. He's going, yeah, this guy really sucks, but that delay.
Wait, so is this your overdrive?
Now that I have a variety of. This is all about
You got a lot of
gain structuring. That's the lead channel of the Lone Star with that little that tiny little tube screamer.
Nice.
The thing, I started using the Lone Star back in 2005 right when it came out, and it was the lead channel that drew me in. Though I eventually ended up using it more for a clean platform.
Okay.
But long story short, the lead channel is real thick and kind of woofy.
Sounds good.
But without the pedal. Real thick, but I put that tube screamer in front of it, which I think was this patch here. And that kind of carves that low end.
Yeah.
Get you more into... Woo! Feeding back with the aux. Woo! Concert funnel.
Wow.
It's when you add the echo.
That sounds so good.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Well done.
Well, yeah, for sure. I've got smart friends. Basically.
Right.
No, but it was. Of course, I'm a melody guy, so it's handy to be able to hold on to that note. Whatever that is.
God, that sounds amazing.
And
wait, hold on. Play some more. That sounds really good.
I take requests.
Okay, dude, I gotta know, how many years did you spend working on bends? Because you hit the notes perfectly, every...
Oh, thank you.
That's amazing. That is, what I've noticed, and I'm not dogging on any of the recent players, because there's so many good players, but...
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Man, there's just something about... I always say there's something about people within, I'd say 35 to 65-year-old range, and I think it's because maybe more of the music had bends and stuff like that back then, but there's a fluidity and a grease level to players that are more in our age group.
It might be, yeah. It could be.
Whereas I think a lot of the newer...
You just got to be old.
No, right? Well, but I think a lot of the newer players, they've concentrated more on you'll see a lot of the really astoundingly good players, like the neo soul guys or whatever you call that.
Right.
But it's almost more chordal and... people that can really bend really well, perfectly, it seems like a lost art. You get the Neil Seans and all the players that we had back in the day that just so much, and just the...
Well, Larry Carlton.
Oh, yeah.
Carlton and Luke, they're really big
Luke
for me.
Well, the vibrato.
The Luke, just in the, Totally. Yeah. I mean, the guy had more heart in his bends than anybody. So he was a big guy. But then when I heard Carlton, I kind of hear Larry and Luke.
Oh, there's where it came.
There's where it came, and so there was so much beauty there. But there's so many beauty. Jeff Beck and all my, I call them more recent guys. Eric Johnson, if he's a recent guy. Guys that just been so in tune. Satriani's a guy that also doesn't get enough credit for just how in tune he plays.
Yeah,
he's got some stuff figured out as well.
Beck was just here. It was the best song of the night is he covered a Beatles tune, and it was...
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember It was so incredible that I was just
You may or may not know, but I did a whole version of the Sgt. Pepper record.
Did you really?
And so the thing about it was once I kind of figured out, I think I'm going to do this whole thing, and then I realized, oh shoot, well, Jeff already did Day in the Life. He recorded a version with George Martin, and I had played his version. How am I going to I can't, So I just had to kind of get back to the Beatles version. But his version, to me, that recorded version, and he still plays it live all the time. It's just so great.
The scary thing about him in particular is he seems to just get better.
Dude. He could have stopped at Shapes of Things for me, like the Yardbirds. That he would have been on Rushmore already. Yeah, there should be a guitar Rushmore. Should be. Who else would be on it?
Right, exactly.
Well, for me, Eric Johnson, Jeff Beck, and
a few Eric's another one of those cats that's...
Yeah.
You know what I appreciate about him a lot too is he's not afraid to take a chance.
Oh gosh,
live, you know what I mean? I think a lot of players, they don't want to, and even doing stuff like this, people are like, you got to cut out that mistake. You got to it's like they're so terrified.
Good luck with me. You won't get any materials. Like, cut it all out.
They're so terrified of not coming off as perfect. And what I appreciated about him is it's like, he just goes for it.
Yeah, talking about which guy now?
Eric Johnson.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And if it doesn't come out, it's like whatever. Like, I mean, it's all incredible, but like, clearly sometimes it's like, okay, I see where he's going.
Yeah.
But then he'll back it up with something and it was just like.
But Jeff, the first time I saw Jeff Beck, it was exactly the same experience for me because I hadn't seen him. This goes back to 1999. So I never had the chance to see him or didn't make the opportunity, but people kept telling me, you got to see this guy live.
Sure.
And I'm like, yeah. And it was at a kind of a time in my life where I wasn't listening to a lot of guitar records.
Yep.
Elvis Costello and Beatles were in my wheelhouse at the time.
That's not bad either.
That's not bad. I mean, it always goes in cycles, right?
Sure.
But I'll never forget this because there was the Dallas Vintage Guitar Show just before Beck was going to play in town. And, I'd been told by so many people, you got to go. And there's these two really pretty blondes walking around the show going, tickets to Jeff Beck? Like giving out free tickets. Yeah, it's like, I go, yes, okay, God, I'm going. So I get it. I need to go. And it was truly the greatest thing I'd ever seen. I was in tears multiple times. It's exactly what you're talking about, though, because he was going for stuff. It wasn't this safe thing. Mm-mm. And my gosh, the power, because when it happens, and whatever he's going for, and it's not like that he was messing up. It was so clear though. It was on the edge, and it was just in the moment. And those are the players.
That's a great way of saying it. Is you realize that like it's basically just channeling through him at that point.
Absolutely, it's not this memorized. Okay, and that's There's nothing wrong with.
No,
there may be things that you do that way, but when you have that kind of spidey sense, whatever that is, to have things happening in real time, be it a mistake or not. But I'd rather have that. Everybody knows I'm not perfect, so I don't have to worry about it. But of course, we still obsess about these things. We want to be perceived as okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna do a lesson with him too, but we gotta stick delay pedal.
Okay, yes, delay pedal.
Especially with our friends in the room.
Yes.
Give us some features and some what it can do's.
Okay, so very fortunately, we spend all the time, I shouldn't say all the time, a majority of the time really chasing my specific sound. Okay. So it comes with that sound. You don't have to go on forums or like, patch 1A is my tone. And that's where I'm gonna be about 90%, 95% of the night. It's just that real sweet, modulated, dual echo. Even if you want to plug in the expression pedal, it's already kind of set up to where, heel down is off. And you can add echo
nice.
to it. But the expression can control any parameter on there. So if you want to delay, time, feedback, all these crazy things.
You don't have to show us now, but is it an easy process to program the?
It's extremely easy. Okay. So now you can also do tap tempo. Now if I hold down the patch that I'm on, wait till it blinks, get it slower. But even at that slow tempo, check out the quality of that.
Holy moly.
So there's that. If now I click back to it. Now, so we spent all this time on this particular sound. He says, well, we've got this platform that we're using on the Echoes. You can have all these other things. What do you like? So we started going through, and so we've got one set up to that's just a single delay here. Oh, that's the slap. Hold on a second. Oh, some sort of slap. So it's nice to have, because that would be my main second sound anyway. Okay. If I've got my lengthy, halo.
What do you use slap for?
It could be like a country thing if I don't have a.
Are you one of those guys that can play anything?
No. Wait, my Bugs Bunny lick. Anyway, it's got the slap. It comes with that. It goes with that lick. But of course, you might use that on the rock and roll, like.
Oh,
It's pretty freaking great. Okay, so then if you've got 4 presets with 2 sounds, is that what we call it? So let's get off into something else here. So here's like a single delay. So set up as a quarter note. So if you want to do tap tempo on that, get something a little faster.
Can you bring modulation into any of the?
Absolutely, and I think these are set up with a bit of modulation already in. But we could increase that. And any knob you tweak, you can always get back to it. So there I've added a bit. I've lost my kickstand. We can talk about that in a second. Yeah, of course, any sound that's on there, any preset, you can tweak to your own liking. You can deal with the modulation. There's a low pass filter,
What?
and also tone.
Nice.
So you can really tweak the sucker. And the saturate knob is really part of the brilliance, and that's what's getting us into that gritty, compressed distortion that you get with the good tape. You know, so it can really help those repeats get out of the way. But so as far as presets that come with, let's scroll through here. See, It's a slap. So now I'll go here. Now this is a different echo. So I have this old Tom Scholz rack piece, echo unit, and his ratio is 300 and 500.
Like his specific delay?
His specific delay.
Too.
So this is more like, if I want to get into the... Man, and we're listening on little, we're listening on the studio monitors here at a very low level. This sounds all right.
Yeah, it works.
Hope it sounds good at home.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that, and there's let's see what else. It's just a long echo. Yeah.
Okay, so on the patches, is there expression stuff already programmed into it?
Yeah, mainly the way it's set up is that every patch has the mix as you go to expression. But again, it's real easy to get into some editing where you can again have that affect anything that you want to tweak on the fly.
Can you do it at the time so you can get that weird?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can get into some, and there's a freeze function. Aaron loves this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a freeze function. Let's see. Just hold down the all kinds of spacey fun.
That's a hit at a high school party.
There you go. Shoegaze all day long, everybody. Oh yeah, there's another setting that's more of like the Miazzi, Hank Marvin, Apache Shadows thing.
What's that?
That's the. Let me remember where it is here. There it is. So it's just a different multi-tap, but it's not a very good Hank Marvin's. Again, one of my favorite recorded echo tones of all time. It had to be like 1960, 61.
Sure.
Hank Marvin with the Shadows. They were Cliff Richard's backing band, but they started doing instrumental tunes, and it was a huge hit, especially in England. Anyway, so those.
Wait. That's good. Okay, so give me your top 5 delay, your personal favorite.
Wow. Oh wow, well that's a good one. Okay, so. Well, the Apache has to go down, and there's a version of Apache by the Safaris on the Fun City USA record. Okay. But it was the first. Back
when times were so innocent.
They were the first surfing record that we had in the Timmons household. But there's a version of Apache that has a real prominent echo sound.
Okay.
In that. But also there's a tune on that record called Moondog. Mm-hmm. And it's an old classic surf tune, but there's this drum breakdown in the middle, and the guy starts messing with the time, and it's I swear to you that it's a dog barking. It goes, Moondog by the Safaris. It is my favorite moment, one of my favorite recorded moments, but it happens to be with a tape echo.
Okay, perfect.
Please Google that.
Okay.
Now past that, I got to think of my best. I mean, you can't beat Watchtower, Jimi Hendrix. The sound of that whole track and the way the echo is used, it's just astounding.
It would not be the same without it.
It's just really, really beautiful. And I think, because Luke used, pretty wet sound there, even on the early records, like even on Hold the Line, where there's plenty of delay on there. So that had to have been an influence. Of course, Eric Johnson, anything off Avia Musicon.
He made like being able to use effects cool again for guitar players.
DJ,
yeah.
Yeah, because I think effects got a bad name in the rack age. I think because it went too far, didn't it? There was so much going. Well, because you could.
Yeah, right.
But even though there's a lot of modern help here, I still feel it's organic in a way. I still feel it's all about having this really large palette of tones that you might want to get. There may be a more pure signal patch if you just go direct into the amp, and I love that too. But yeah, I especially with my solo, my trio gig, I cover a lot of ground, so I need help.
Well, the cool thing about effects and all that stuff too is it can be such a mode of inspiration for people.
Yeah,
like I've heard plenty of people that wouldn't be considered great guitar players, but they're fantastic with coming up with great sounds. So it works for their music that they're doing. Absolutely. And then there's also astoundingly good players that just they're able to really dial in on something very specific.
Sure.
And so I think that now with technology and the way things are more pure, as you would say, it's nice.
No, and it's all valid. It's just a matter of what your outcome, what is your goal?
Yes.
And for me, of course, I want to try to play as good as I can. I want to have a good sound, and still working on all of it.
I'd say you've figured it out, dude.
I'm working on it. But thanks for the compliment on the bending. That's because that to me it's one of the most expressive potentials of the instrument. And like you talked, we scratched on Jeff Beck and how he's continued to improve, and it's all to do with how he really figured out how to manipulate the tremolo bar, his bending.
Yes.
It's just otherworldly,
Well, and I think especially him, because every world-class player I've ever met in my life, everyone's Jeff Beck.
Well, that's just it,
right? And when younger players who are because I didn't get it as a kid. I was focused on speed and ripping.
Yeah.
And then you see it, it's like, there's this guy that can express himself with less, but sound like way more.
I was convinced when I saw him that maybe it wasn't possible to capture it. What I felt in that moment, in that concert, I was like, I don't get that from those records, but oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing. But what I think he finally got it. There was a record called Emotion and Commotion.
Okay.
Where he does Over the Rainbow and Nessun Dorma.
Oh my God.
And a couple of Jeff Buckley tunes. Yep. And it's okay, it is possible because he did it, as you're weeping. It's just incredible. But I love that, and how inspiring is that? Because there's been others, his contemporaries, and nothing against Clapton and Page. They continued to do what they went on to do and, at a brilliant level. But you at least for Clapton, there wasn't a lot of growth. There was, he played a bunch. There was amazing tunes along the way, but Jeff just never repeated himself, and that to me is the mark of a great, really truly great artist that's willing to just keep going and take chances.
Sure. With those other two players specifically, I feel like they peaked on technique, but their songwriting just got
that's just
so much.
And
better.
that was another thing for me. I wasn't a Zeppelin fan when I was younger, but I started as I became more aware of what it takes to write a great song, what it takes to produce. You start to go, this guy's a freaking genius. And I do love his playing. I'm not bagging on either one of these guys. Don't get me wrong, but as far as the technique and the level of expression, that's where Jeff, really gives us the inspiration, right?
I think with a lot of those guys too, it was a live performance that got me in. Like with Beck, I remember it being as a kid. Remember when they used to, what was it, Columbia House or whatever that thing was called, the CD club?
Eight for a penny.
Totally. So I remember they sent me one and it had Brush with the Blues on it.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, Jeff Beck, do I want to listen to that? I put it in and I just scrolling through, no. And then that came in, I was like, I get it.
Pretty great. Yeah.
And then seeing that, I think in 2008, he did that show at, what's it called? It's in Europe. It's like a small little.
Ronnie Scott's.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
I saw that and I was like.
Yeah, with Tal and Vinny.
Oh my God.
Good Lord, nice band.
So I remember Tim Pierce brought me into a session one time, and he's like, "You got to come into the session today," and I was like, "Okay," and I just felt like a complete moron. But So you brought me in, and there's this band playing. The band was from Nashville. It was a rock band, and they had taken a break, and the drummer was playing, and they're like, "Can you do another pass of that?" And this guy just kept playing, and I was like, "Dude, who is that freaking drummer?" Like, because I could not see him,
right?
And I had seen him before, but I didn't know that was the drummer, and I still didn't know who he was. And Tim just starts laughing. He's like, "Dude, that's Vinny Colaiuta."
Wow, yeah.
But it's another like in a Jeff Beck. It's like he's that on drums.
He is that on drums.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
he's a guy that I haven't worked with that I really hope one day to spend some time with.
Yes, you should.
I think I would love to be in a room with that guy.
Oh my God,
Vinny, if you're watching.
Yes.
Yeah, which I'm sure he is.
I'll leave his links below.
He watches a lot of guitar videos.
I think the camera. Tim was telling me he's super into cameras. So what we'll get.
Okay, there you
that's
go.
Your cue in.
I
bought this new camera. Anyways, I will leave all of Andy's links down below, and then also check out the pedal. They left one over here. It is actually astoundingly good, and for a pedal that to me, not complicated, has patches. It's small. It's not that big at all.
Yeah.
It's like the size of a normal Boss pedal. I think for like a one and done, for me especially because it covers all the bases for me.
You're gonna any kind of delay tone you're into, I know you can get it out of it.
Yeah.
But just even what it comes preset with is just freaking really special. I'm very, very proud. Of
course,
I can humbly say, I'm only saying because Rob's in the room.
Exactly.
No, I mean, come on, I'm blown away by everything they did to get it to where we got it. So thank you guys.
It's fantastic.
Thanks for having me on, Brett.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming by
man.
and showing it to us.
It's like you don't know any good guitar players.
No, they all terrible. Taught them everything they all know.
It's intimidating coming in. It's like everybody that's been here is like, what am I gonna do? I got nothing.
Plenty.
I got nothing.
We'll make you work later.
All right, fan. I will clean up out that. I'll be cleaning a force cage.
Yeah, exactly.
Giving them bunny
Get
snacks.
to the bunny.
I feed bunnies every night. I get bunnies that come back. They're not pets, and I don't name them because they don't.
That's
last
better
long.
because they don't eat your house.
They're fair enough, but they eat all my carrots and bananas. They love bananas. Does he like bananas?
He likes freaking everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
He's like the most. It's like a Ritz
I
experience.
hope you can put in a picture of Forrest while we're talking about it.
I will.
That
And he's got
gonna get
like,
a fan club,
He's got his own like sunroom, and he's eating half of the house in the back.
Can't follow bunnies. Yeah.
If you can see daylight coming through the door, he's literally eating through the door in the back. So they like wood too.
Yeah.
Just so you know, any parents out there thinking about buying your kid a bunny, steel cage. And that's it. We're out back. Funny. But he's sweet.
Poor Forrest. Well, of course he's sweet.
He's sweet. We let him in the house every now and again.
Well, that's nice.
He's very excited. And bunnies are funny because they're to let you know they're pissed. They thump the floor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So they let you know they can't talk, but he'll like leave me alone, and you're like, okay, fine, or get me a blueberry. But anyways, so we'll leave all of Andy's links below. I'll also leave the links to the Keeley pedal below as well. It's amazing. It's called the Halo. Make sure you check it out. It's probably available at. Oh, you're distracting me.
Yes, Keeley Effects. What was it?
And I know they're good people because they're from my hometown. So anybody from Edmond, Oklahoma is automatically awesome. And so they got total props for that as well. Good American company. Good for you. Keeping it real. All right, so make sure to check out all those links below. And you also have a site where you teach all your own stuff.
Yeah, Guitar Experience, guitarexperience.net.
Yeah, like with an X.
With an X. Hello. Extra special.
Checking you out.
Rated, yeah.
Woo! All right, so thank you for
it's a family show.
Out with it. Yeah, exactly. All right, you guys are awesome. Thanks. Catch you next time.